Good morning. And happy Easter once again.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, wonderful. And happy Easter to those of you joining us online, too. I know you're there. Everything is blossoming all around us. Nature is coming back to life. And for those of us who get to play on this planet, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere, we are once again reassured that life comes back after a long and cold winter. And I know some people in those northern states like Maine and Wisconsin right now are still experiencing some winter. But they'll get to spring. It will happen. Nature never disappoints eventually. And, I was looking at the moon this morning. I gotta get up early, and I saw the moon coming in from the window, and I remembered that there are 4 people in a capsule that are rotating around the moon right now. They just went around the dark side that nobody has before. And, a lot of them have been sending messages back about looking at the Earth from that perspective of space and seeing, this blue-green marble, which is, something that the astronauts in the 60s talked about. And they talked about, it's just one planet. It's just one people. The human species, it's all just one. I wish we had that perspective. I wish we could all get that perspective, right? Because, because now that and, the whole phenomena of spring just is in stark contrast to what seems to be happening to most of humanity at the moment. Humankind, we seem to be losing everything that is important to a civil society. Common decency, civil discourse, the idea of love thy neighbor, of welcome the stranger, of truth, of any efforts to help take care of this precious planet that we have seem to be shoved into the tomb with the stone sealed, tightly over that. And not that there haven't been lots of effort by individuals and groups and communities that have practiced peace, taught peace, prayed, sent out love to the world. All of those peace walks, all of the prayer circles, all of the peace ceremonies, all of the peace talks, the better angels that come and teach about deep listening, all of the unity communities that stand up at the end of service and take each other's hands and say, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me." And we ask ourselves, where is the realization of all of those efforts? But as part of the Easter story, we know that you cannot kill love. No matter how anybody tries, you cannot kill love. It just rises stronger than before. And that period of seeming death is simply a period of regeneration that strengthens the intention, that strengthens the spiritual muscles to realize that intention. It's like, the caterpillar that must die of its old self and remain silent in the cocoon for a period of time. And for those of us on the outside looking at it, we think, there's nothing going on. There's nothing happening. What is that weird thing hanging from the tree? But inside the cocoon, amazing transformation is happening. A few of you here are representing the transformational butterfly energy, because within time, a gorgeous butterfly emerges. Or it's like the seeds that get planted in the earth. When they first are put into the soil, it looks like nothing's happening. There's nothing, like, it just looks complete emptiness. But we know that under the surface, so much is happening. Life is breaking out of the seed and sending its roots deep into the soil to absorb the nutrients, to create this firm foundation. And then within a few weeks, we see little tiny sprouts coming out. And we say, oh, yes, there is something happening. Yes. And within a certain period of time, we experience the fruits of that growth, whether it's the fragrance of flowers, or it's the fruit or nutrition from the vegetable that it provides. And so we activate our faith, which is what we talked about last week. And we trust. We trust the process is happening. We activate our faith, and we know that something tremendous is growing from all of this loving, peaceful energy that has been generated by so many for so long. This Easter day, we trust. And we see little shoots sprouting up, right? And we celebrate. We celebrate. So, this whole concept of resurrection has been represented in many different ways, various cultures throughout time. Most of them are, celebrating the rebirth of nature, like the goddess Oestra. Yostra, I think it's pronounced. I think we have a slide that has that name so that we can see it. Yostra. You can see how we get the name Easter. She was the goddess of dawn, rebirth, renewal. And in a time when people honored goddesses, it was a celebration. The celebration of light overcoming darkness and life returning visibly. And that theme of resurrection has, just been repeated in many different, Greek mythology, Norse mythology, probably Celtic mythology. We'll have to ask Michael about that. Because it's a universal pattern, right, that is coded in our cells, that is woven in the fabric of this existence on this planet. That theme of resurrection, coming back to life. Now, interestingly, in the traditional Easter story, the resurrection happened in a garden, or at least the first encounter, and it was by a woman, but that's another talk altogether. It was the woman that recognized who that was. And so not a desert, not the wilderness, but a garden, which is a place where something beautiful and important and sacred can be nourished. And a garden, it just in itself is a symbol of new life and new possibility. And the seeds that are planted in the dark and the quiet of the earth just get stronger. The roots get stronger. And it supports the birth of new life. It supports the birth of love. Life overcomes death. And that process of awakening cannot be contained by fear or circumstances. Just like the seeds of love and peace that are planted in the quiet of our heart cannot be stopped by fear or circumstances. They grow stronger. Those roots grow deeper in source energy. And it grows and waits for the right season to emerge and blossom. And so we trust that process. And we nourish it, right? We take care of it. We nurture it. And we know that seeds planted in love grow always into something healing and transformational. Right? So, last week I shared how activated hope, and if you missed that, you know, we archive all the talks. You can go back and look at that. We talked about activated hope requires a combination, specific combination of powers to really make work. Do you guys remember what those were? Faith, right? Faith, love, and strength. Oh, very good. You all get an A. Or an Easter egg. So we put all of those powers to work and, did a whole activity where we engaged this activated hope and wrote down a vision for our lives, a personal vision for our lives. We wrote it on our palm frond, right? Hopefully you still have those and you're still working with those. So today, we're going to, those same powers, we're going to work with these same powers today to activate hope and see a vision and claim a vision, a new vision, a higher vision for the world. We're going to do that together. You with me? Let's play in this energy together. Okay, so let's look at love, the seeds of love first. So we talked about how one of the aspects of love, is that magnetizing power, that love is the drawing power of our energy. Because everything is made out of and by love, including us. So when we get in vibrational harmony with it, it is that drawing power. Well, love is also the power of healing and harmonizing. That power of love can bring us back to our true nature and transform relationships. The power of love can really feed our soul. It nourishes our soul. It can heal our mind. It can heal our body. And it can bring what might seem to be chaotic situations in our lives and in the world back into harmony. And we exercise that power of love every time we say a kind word. Every time we share of what we have with others. Every time we give of ourselves. Every time we say a prayer, we are planting seeds of love, not only in the other individual, but in the collective consciousness. So don't think that any prayer or any act of kindness or giving of yourself, even though that other person may not have received it, it adds to the collective consciousness. You're still planting seeds of love in the collective consciousness, which must grow. All right, so that is the power of love. So the power of faith, we'll look at that. So again, the thing about gardens is that sometimes there are periods of time where there's nothing happening. In the winter, of course. But also right after you plant seeds, you can't see that there's anything there. It just looks empty, right? that there's nothing happening. Well, the same thing happens in our lives. When we plant seeds of prayer and intention, sometimes there's a period where we just can't see anything. This is where the power of faith comes in. Faith allows us to see what cannot yet be seen, like the birds that sing before dawn that I was talking about last week, or the butterfly it's still in the cocoon. That's where that power of faith. So that power of faith helps us to see that something wonderful is happening even when it can't be seen, and even in the darkest times. That power of faith helps us to see above and beyond the current circumstances and to affirm under it all, love is there. Love is active. That transformation is happening. It's there. So, in the traditional Easter story, it looked like all was lost before the stone was rolled away. But in truth, everything had already changed. So that's the awareness that we want to take in with this power of faith. All right, let's look at the power of strength. So again, this entire process of growth takes strength from beginning to end. It takes strength for life to burst out of a seed, to push the roots down into the soil, and for that little sprout to push out of the hard soil and into the light. It all takes strength, but it happens all the time, all around us. Life is just irrepressible in places where we don't even think that something could grow. Like the little dandelions that come up in between the tiniest cracks in the sidewalk. Or trees that seem to be growing right out of the rocks. I used to, when my sister was alive, I would visit her in Ithaca. And Ithaca is known for its gorges. The gorgeous gorges is their motto. And we would go and hike in these gorges, and I would always be amazed at these trees that seem to be growing right out of the rocky cliffside, up and out, like right out of a rock. Like, how can that be? It seemed to be just a miracle. But that is the persistent power of life itself. So this is an important symbol for us, right? That's an important symbol because we can use this power of strength to rise beyond old stories, to break free from those patterns that might be keeping us stuck. The power of strength can help us move through grief, loss, fear, and to see and create new possibilities. It is literally how we realize resurrection in our lives. It's how we live the idea of resurrection. All right, so today we're going to do a little activity. We're going to plant together seeds of love. We want a whole garden of love to grow, don't we? Yes. Yeah. We have to plant the seeds in order to get the fruits. So, in just a moment, I'm going to have you guys come down one row at a time, starting from the back, just one row at a time in just a minute. And these are wildflower seeds. And I want you to grab just a tiny little pinch, so there's enough to go around. And you're just going to plant it, and I'll guide you directly to where you can do that. And as you're doing this, I want you to affirm in the quiet of your heart the vision that you would like to see grow in the world. Right? The vision that you'd like to see. It symbolizes that. And then before you sit down, we have butterflies that symbolize this whole transformational power that is happening. All right, you guys ready? Yes. All right, let's have the back row come up, and Chris is going to help me with the butterflies. This is the bowl that has the seeds. Yeah, Chris, if you could, thank you. Play something lovely. Yeah. Just put it right in there. Right in there. Yeah, when you go back to your seat, go through the side. Oh, I got a nice one. There's a little butter. You can take two. Yes, right in there. And remember, we're that in a prayerful attitude of a vision that we would like to see grow in the world. I think Chris, would you like to come down and do, is anybody else? Maybe those of you doing the sound, would you like to come down and participate in this? Oh, okay, she's planted seeds for you? Okay, good. Sure, that looks good. Okay, they stuck together. Thank you. Okay. All right, Chris. Your pick. All right, I planted mine, so I'll take this one. All right. Has everybody had a chance to come and do this together? All right. Wonderful. So these butterflies, they sort of double winged, and they actually have a little magnet on them, so you can. Yeah, it's kind of cool. We just planted a garden of love, symbolic of the love that we plant in our hearts, the love that we give to others helps to plant love for them. The love that we share in all of the different ways grows in the collective consciousness. We have a garden. So we will nurture this, right? We're going to water it. We're going to cover it over and water it. And we're going to put it outside. And, we'll see in a couple weeks, little tiny sprouts coming out, and we'll celebrate. Thank you for participating in this with me. Namaste.